AJ Preller back with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. AJ, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
First of all, just the news that just broke a couple of minutes ago. You guys are not going to pitch Joe Musgrove today. Nick Martinez is going to start. Just saw some news about some shoulder trouble. Can you give us an update on Joe? Is this the altitude thing that or is this something different from earlier in the season? What's going on?
Yeah, after his last outing, Joe was a little sore when he was and felt some stiffness when he was playing catch the last few days, and I think we ultimately just decided to push him back. I think so far, feeling like it's not anything serious. I think it's just more about pushing him back a few days and making sure that he's closer to 100% before he takes the mound. So we going to go with Nick Martinez today and then reevaluate Joe the next few days, and hopefully this weekend or early part of next week he's ready to make his next turn.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is there no chance he pitches against the Dodgers maybe on Monday? Skipping the start today, getting some extra rest. Is there a chance he throws against the Dodgers or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think sit down more with Bob and Ruben and kind of map out things, especially with we've got Rich Hill coming in too, and looking at him making a start this weekend as well. So I think we have a little bit of flexibility there, but biggest thing is just like when Joe's 100% ready to roll, then we'll go from there with it. So I think again, I think the mindset with everybody is this is more of he'll be ready to make a start here over the next 5 days, just kind of figuring out when that is and what's the best time to slot him in, and mostly just going off of Joe and how he's feeling.
Talking to AJ Preller here on Ben and Woods this morning. So some new faces coming in. Will all those guys be available today to play, pinch hit, whatever?
Yeah, actually, I think a lot of the guys are landing here right now, over the course of the next hour. So we've got, I think with G-Man Choi, Garrett Cooper, Scott Barlow, I think they'll be on the roster, and I think maybe available off the bench. I was talking to Bob here for a second this morning. I think have those guys ready to get off, be off the bench, and then Barlow available today, and then Rich Hill be coming in for the series this weekend, and probably slotted in one of those games.
I would imagine Barlow's availability suddenly becomes a little more urgent after you guys kind of had the bullpen day yesterday. Avila doing a nice job, and I know you'll be making some moves as well. But you're gonna with Nick starting. I mean, you can't. It's not that stretched out, so you're going to need another effort from your bullpen today. What are you kind of looking and mapping out for this game?
Yeah, I think talking to again Ruben and Bob, we have our full complement of relievers ready for today. So it's I think a situation we have everybody ready to roll here in the game today. Nick obviously has been in that position before, kind of that jack of all trades, start the game. He gives us a lot of flexibility, and I think we have a full group of relievers with Barlow in that mix as well for the ball game today.
Talking to AJ Preller on Ben and Woods, and AJ, the last few weeks, really the last probably month, watching the team kind of go up and down. I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I don't have to tell you that. It led us to speculate, and a lot of people to speculate. Well, what are the Padres going to do? It was a very, very hot topic on MLB Network and sports radio all across the country, AJ, and ultimately you guys decided to add pieces. For you, when did you know? Like were you going through what we were all going through? Were you on the fence kind of waffling about what should we do? How hard was it?
I think we definitely had conversations. You get to the deadline, and some years it's pretty clear one way or the other. Other years it's it doesn't declare itself as much with your team. I think with us, we understood like, hey, we're going to go through this process and listen on everything, look at all different possibilities and situations. I think a little bit, obviously part of that is looking at your team and how they're playing and what you think their chances are to get to the postseason this year. We factor all of that in, obviously. And then, we're thorough. You go through and talk about, hey, deals that can make you better for the next couple months, deals that can make you better for the next few years, weighing all that out. I mean, I think a big part of it, like I said a few times here in the last few days, it really just comes down to what the deals are, and what how that pushes you directionally. And, I think, with us, we really were never, there was nothing that was close to compelling in terms of moving some key pieces on this year's team. I think a little bit like some of the view of rental players or guys that are, have expiring contracts. Teams are, definitely more conservative on that front these days. And, I think there's a lot of teams that are kind of in that middle ground this year, that, look at it and say, hey, we could win. But, There's just going to be a lot of competition for those last few spots. So those are all the conversations we were going back and forth on. Ultimately, we looked at a few deals that we felt like could round out a team. And, again, like we feel like we have the talent and the ability on our team. We played a little better of late. And I think we feel like we have the ability to go make a run at this thing here in the next couple of months and get back in the postseason.
Do people call you? I mean, you probably have taken a billion phone calls in the last month or so. Do you get some weird ones this year? Did you get, people out? Do people call you and ask you like Manny and Tatis and things like that? Like, do they, so I'm sure Soto's name was mentioned more than once. Is that, are some asks ridiculous or is it pretty conservative?
No, I mean, again, like trade deadline time, there's always, you're always, it's kind of the time of year, the month of July, where people will ask about all different players, and different deals. This year, honestly, the last 10 days, we were in a position because people were calling about players if in case we decide to move guys off our team that could help them win, and then obviously deals where we're buying. But you're always there wasn't anything that stands out where it's like, yeah, this is something totally unexpected. For the most part, it's pretty straightforward, and we were able to go from there with it.
Talking to AJ Preller, Padres general manager, with us here on Ben and Woods, and I've always got the sense that fans are more worried about this than maybe even you guys in the front office, but they see the big contracts that you've handed out and the payroll, and they keep worrying that there's got to be a stop to it. Peter's going to put the shackles on AJ. He can't spend any more of the money. It's just going to dry up. Were there any constraints placed upon you? I mean, if you presented something big, you guys got linked to Justin Verlander on the rumor mill yesterday. Was that something that was even in the realm of possibility for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, like we have, Peter's tremendous in terms of he wants to win, and he understands that, it's not about, a set payroll amount to win or anything like that. I think, we've had different payroll levels here the last few years. And, I think it's more about just like each individual deal and being open-minded to what presents itself. So I think we went into this deadline the same way. Something that was there that improved our club. We talk about what that means, prospect wise, and what that means to our team and the impact, and then, financially where that sets us up for now and for the next coming year. So we were, I think, open-minded on all that front. Peter, Eric, myself talking about that. And ultimately, this is the way we went.
So is it personal, talking to AJ Preller here on Ben and Woods this morning? We were floundering yesterday on the show for about the last hour, waiting for, you guys to do something, and kind of left our schedule open. And we signed off at 10, and at 10:05, G-Man Choi is announced along with Rich Hill. And then later we did the trade deadline roundtable, signed off at 3:05. All these moves come down, AJ. How we were curious as to how, when you guys get it done, how does Jeff Passan know?
Yeah, I'm very curious about how many times a day he and Ken Rosenthal
does he text you all day?
The trade deadline, like anything yet?
Because I leave you alone, and I still don't get any lead scoop.
Yeah, I think the timing of it. I mean, we're at the same time we're working in the in the room. We have Josh Stein staff members are locked into your guys' show. As soon as you guys sign off, we decide to announce. So we were sitting on that for about an hour and a half.
Why do I believe it?
What they're done. Yeah, let's go from there. No, I think the timing of these things it's kind of remarkable. No, I mean, like you're busy on the phone talking to teams. So I think in terms of, like having any conversation, media or anything like that, that's not happening. It's just literally, I think in a couple of these cases, I think we all shake our heads. Like a deal will be agreed to, we haven't even called it in sometimes to the commissioner's office, and medicals have to go through. I mean, there's a lot that goes through after you agree to a deal. And at times within minutes, some of the deals are being reported. And there's other deals we've had where, we get through the entire process and nobody says anything until we can announce it. So I don't really know.
You don't even know. You don't know. So you don't. Does Passan text? Does he text you directly?
No, I think that's especially at this time. It's like your phone. The last 24 hours of the trade deadline, especially the last 3 or 4 hours. I mean, it's literally, at least for us, the last few years, it's been, call after call after call, and throwing different scenarios up there. And that's the focus at that time. And, it's kind of one of the tough parts is that you wish you have the ability to really let your players know in the right form or
Yeah.
fashion. But obviously today, media does a great job, and Twitter in terms of just getting the story, getting the news, and that's all kind of seems to be kind of part of the trade process now, unfortunately. So.
Speaking of that, AJ, have you had any tough conversations today? Obviously, with players coming in, that means players have to go out. Have you made those moves yet in terms of guys who might be on their way out today?
Yeah, it's in terms of like the current roster. No, I mean, I think Bob is going to be in the process of talking to those guys. I was here in San Diego for the deadline, so yeah, that's obviously always the tough part of the job in terms of you get excited that you're able to make a move that your group likes and then our group feels like it's good and will help our team. But then obviously even like the conversation yesterday, Ryan Weathers and. Talking to guys from our group that have been in our organization for a long time, Jackson Wolf, guys that have been signed, drafted, developed, and see a guy like Jackson that did a great job for us this year, committed himself this off season, and made a big league start for us and helped us this season. Those are the tough calls, but obviously that's the job, and that's part of yesterday as well, and hopefully it gets us where we want to get to October this year.
And how do you envision, it's AJ Preller joining Ben Woods this morning. How do you envision, Garrett Cooper fitting in and G-Man Choi? And I know today, obviously, like you said, off the bench, hopefully. But how do you envision them fitting in and what are you guys planning on doing with those guys? And yeah, I mean, Jake's still there and he's swinging a really hot bat right now. And, making sure he's got to stay in the lineup as well, which is always the best way to make sure you stay in the lineup.
Does AJ know that Bo Woods is responsible for Jake's turnaround?
I don't know if you know this, but my 5-year-old told Jake on Friday night, he looked at Jake, we were down on the field, and he said, do damage. And Jake said, okay. And next thing you know, turn him around. And so, with guys like that, if you're going to look over your shoulder if you're Jake Cronenworth and go, oh, God, we just got 2 more first basemen. How does that get massaged?
I think again with Garrett Cooper and G-Man Choi, I think the DH spot and just like offensively, we just have not done. I think we in terms of like putting pressure on other clubs, scoring runs, just getting 2 more offensive players that have a long track record. Looking at some of the stuff G-Man's done against right-hand pitching, especially. Cooper against left-hand pitching. I think those guys, they're going to be prepared to come in, and whether it's first base, DH, come off the bench, I think gives Bob some real options every single day. If we got to rest a player, we've got like a really accomplished hitter, big league hitter that can be in the lineup that day, and it just gives us more depth. And I think competition's always a good thing, but I think more so like you're going to a championship, you need a lot of good players. You need your top end players playing well, and I think that was all part of getting G-Man and getting Garrett Cooper in here.
I wanted to ask you too. We get a lot of tweets and comments about Xander Bogaerts, and we're committed to Xander Bogaerts for a long time, and certainly started off the season so hot. The wrist got hit in the wrist, and you hate to see something like that happen. Got the shot after the break, and it scuffled a little bit, a lot coming out of the break. AJ, and is he healthy, and how is he? And I'm sure you've spoken to him, and just how's he kind of hanging in there? He's a really good player and has been his entire career. And I know you guys expect more, and I know he expects more from himself. But is he healthy right now, or is he struggling through something?
Yeah, it hasn't been part of our discussions here lately. Obviously, earlier in the season, we had the situation, like a few months ago where he got the injection. It hasn't been part of the conversations lately. He's doing a lot of work. He's doing extra work. The biggest thing with Xander, again, like Xander's like an extremely accountable person. Mm-hmm. Again, like I think we're also seeing, and we've seen it at times in the past too. It's not an excuse, but like some of the bigger free agent players really across the league that I think. Whether that's expectation or putting some pressure, and then also guys moving to new spots. I think that's all part of it, and kind of sometimes you lose track of that at times. That hey, this is a little different, and a little new. But all the reasons we signed Xander, he's been one of the best hitters here in the game over the last 7 or 8 years. I think he's I think the ability to play shortstop, and be in the middle of the diamond, the more so the person and the individual, the work ethic, the care factor. That's all there. And I think, I do think like this time of year, the next 2 months, basically it's going to be every game's a playoff game pretty much. And I think having somebody like Xander in there, it's still, the season's not over, yet. So I think he's got a lot of season left, a lot of at-bats. And, my guess is knowing him and getting to know him even more personally here over the last few months, he's going to be in a position where, he's going to do a lot of good things for us here this year and next year.
Last thing for me, AJ, did any other GM have the guts to bring up the name Ethan Salas, the reigning California League Player of the Week at,
you gotta ask,
at age
right?
17? And just what have you seen so far in his young pro career? Obviously, I know you guys were really high on him when you signed him at the beginning of the year. And now, I mean, competing against, 20 to 23-year-olds in the Cal League and doing what he's doing, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, there are definitely some teams that brought up Ethan's name. I think most of them are starting to get the sense that most of the calls were just like an appreciation for what he's doing and kind of the level. I think it's you always have your internal evaluation. Chris Kemp and his group did a great job with Ethan and signing him, but especially now when he's out playing against competition and more so. I think we got into spring training and we saw, okay, this, now you're starting to see him against pro players and realizing he's really advanced. And then, and just seeing that firsthand. And then now when you get out into this environment and start to hear other teams, their evaluation, and that's always a good thing when other teams are kind of sharing what we feel internally. So he's done some really nice things like early on in his career. And I think we think really highly of him. And again, we're going to challenge our top guys and, if they're able to handle it, looks like he's been able to handle a lot. So he's, again, he's a guy that we think highly of, and it was pretty clear in this process the last couple of weeks that the industry, shares that belief. He's got a chance to do some really good things here down the road for our organization.
AJ, appreciate your time. I know it's been a busy couple of days, and it will continue to be busy. Good luck to the Padres going forward. We're going to be following it every step of the way. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.